Welcome to Threshold, a place where we explore the sacred in the ordinary and the beauty in the in-between. I'm Molly Wilcox. I'm a wife, a mom, a writer, and your guide as we step over life's thresholds together. Whether you've been reading my newsletter for years or you're just discovering Threshold here, I'm so glad that you're listening. Together, we reflect on faith, creativity, and the small but meaningful ways we're being transformed in the everyday. Let's dive into this week's reflection. I wear a small olive branch around my wrist. It's a delicate little golden chain with a tiny olive branch right in the center. When I look down at it throughout the day, it is a quiet reminder of something deeper. It's pretty, but that's not the reason I bought it. The olive tree has always meant something to me. It symbolizes peace, endurance, and resilience. But lately, I've been thinking a lot about what happens when an olive is pressed. When my husband and I visited Croatia, we rode bikes along the coastline through olive groves. Their beauty was clear as they thrived in the Mediterranean environment. In every restaurant, we were always offered lots of olive oil. It was an important focal point of each meal. Those beautiful trees created this little fruit that was pressed to create this precious oil. Olive oil is the result of this pressing, the weight and pressure that forces something even more valuable out of it. I started to research this more in the Bible as I became captivated by the idea. The name of the garden where Jesus prayed the night before his crucifixion, the Garden of Gethsemane, translates to meaning olive press. This place is where Jesus was crushed by the weight of what was coming. It is where he cried out to God and was met by him. He prayed in such agony that his sweat was blood falling to the ground. He was pressed beyond what any human had ever endured, carrying the weight of all of our suffering in this pivotal moment. When I glance down at my little delicate olive branch bracelet, I think of my own experiences of being pressed. There are times where I felt the weight was too much. I have been exhausted, heartbroken, unsure of how I could keep going in every sense. I think of the physical agony of my HG pregnancy, of my long, painful labor, the nights I begged God for my son to be okay while he was in the NICU. There were so many moments where I thought I might break. Now, when I think of Jesus in that garden, I am also reminded that he was not alone. God was with him, speaking to him, giving him strength to endure. He was pressed, but he was not crushed, and we carry that same promise today. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. This is the promise. The pressing is not the end of the story. The crushing does not destroy us. Instead, it produces something more valuable than we could have imagined. The most precious oil comes from olives that have been pressed. The greatest redemption came from a Savior who was crushed for us. And the deepest beauty in my own life has often come from the seasons I never would have chosen. Maybe you feel pressed right now. Maybe the weight feels unbearable. If that's you, I just want to remind you, you are not breaking. You are becoming. Something sacred is being produced in you, even if you can't see it yet. I hope you are reminded that our strength to endure is not self-made. We can already access it from that very moment, from the garden, from the one who was pressed for us. Thanks for spending time with me today on Threshold. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, subscribe, or leave a review. It all helps so much. And if you're not already part of the community, you can join the conversation by subscribing to my weekly newsletter on Substack, Threshold by mollywilcox.substack.com. Until next time, let's keep finding beauty in the in-between.